Ashley Barnes is a huge TikToker whose dark and disturbing behavior is currently being talked about by what feels like the whole platform. Now, this is a really messy situation, so I've given all the videos a wee watch and like compiled all the most important bits into a little compilation to show you guys. But obviously, there's just so much here that it is genuinely impossible to go through it all. Like 25 different creators have all posted like 10-part mini-series on this girl. And just to be clear, these are some really serious and damning allegations. Before we get into the thick of that though, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Somebody in my last video finally noticed that I'm changing all the records. Like every video I change the records up, so big ups to you. I thought today to celebrate that fact I would put 3 pieces of history up there, so subscribe for the culture. Anyway, before we dive into these allegations, let's just have a little look at Ashley's TikTok for those who don't know who she is. So here she is here. As you'll notice, the bio says, "I love all 2.7 million of you," and the follower count, curiously, is only at 2.5 mil. So obviously this lady well, I say lady, it's a young girl, but that'll come up later. Like, these people are they're all children. But whatever, right? This girl has lost 200,000 followers off of the back of this whole drama, which, like, people will brush that off like it's nothing. 200,000 followers is mental. Like, that's my entire fucking subscriber count. It took me a lifetime of experimenting and making videos to reach 200k, and she's lost it in, like, 3 days. I mean, when you hear the allegations and the stories about this girl, it makes sense, but it's still mental. Well, look at her latest video, which has an unbelievable 35 million views. I'm guessing, once again, off the back of the controversy, people are looking for some sort of comment. They don't get it here, though. It's just sort of I really hate the way I look. This is, honestly, that one video should tell you pretty much everything you need to know about this account and what she does, right? It's just a girl being a girl on TikTok, and for some reason, they got 2.5 million followers because of it. This video here is quite notable, though, to be fair. The original video had like really emotional music, but we're obviously replacing that for copyright reasons. But either which way, the point of the video is Ashley Barnes is claiming to have struggled with addiction of some sort, and her dad knows about it now and I guess works in a field that helps people who are struggling with that sort of thing. This will be very important later on. Now, I'd be lying if I said that I was incredibly familiar with the ins and outs of this community and all the TikTokers who were a part of it. And quite frankly, if I was extremely knowledgeable about the ins and outs of this community, I feel as though that would actually be a bad thing. Because once again, these are kids. And I got some shit for calling, like Santos, who's 19 years old, a kid, but I don't know, it's just, I'm playing a little fast and loose with the definition, I'm aware, but in my opinion, like 17-year-olds, they're children, man. Especially at that age as well. It's like you turn into a different person every year. I remember when I like first joined university here in Scotland, they go to uni like a year earlier. So when I came into university, the majority of the people in my year were a couple months to like a year younger than me. We went to one of the uni dorms and it was just full of 17-year-olds, and I was sat there at 19 years old going like, oh Jesus, this is what 17-year-olds are I'm in pain just thinking about it. Anyway, now onto the allegations and the stories about Ashley that we're going to cover today, the majority of which was started by this TikToker here, Brad Mason, who's also a part of that whole scene. When I say that whole scene, I mean like Piper Rockell is a part of it as well, so that should tell you pretty much everything you need to know about it. Needless to say, it's not exactly my type of content, or the type of content that I would be interested in any way, shape, or form. Let's look at a standard piece of content from this TikToker before we move on to the story. Okay, alright, so I guess that's who we're dealing with here. I'm not shitting on it too much. These are, like, once again, like, these are children. This was a bunch of drama between kids, and fair enough, the topics that are about to be covered are not childish topics at all, but it is very important to remember the age and subsequent maturity levels of the people involved. But with all that being said, let's just begin with the story.
I was friends with Ashley Barnes. It was very public. We were very, like, on social media that we were close friends, right? And some things, happened, like earlier on, I would say, that were kind of like weird, that kind of like, turned me the wrong way. And she started acting more weird. But when I was there, a lot of like weird stuff happened, and I feel like it's something that needs to be brought to the public attention because I don't want this happening to other people. And as much as I do love her as a person, she deep down knows she's an amazing person, and I hope that she can get help for whatever she's going through, but...
Okay, so it's an interesting start already. They start by calling her weird and the situation weird about 10 fucking times, and then he says something which I find to be a little revealing, which is that Ashley, deep down, is a great person, but he just feels the need to talk about this to prevent it from happening to people in the future. Which makes sense. Like, when you actually hear the story, I think those reasons are completely noble, completely reasonable. But I do find the preface of, like, she's an amazing person deep down to be a little interesting, to say the least. Not to say that it discredits the story by any means. I don't think that at all for even a second. I just think it's something worth pointing out because it's not something you'd necessarily say if, I don't know, an adult were to do the things that Ashley Barnes is about to be accused of doing.
So I was in LA and we were like making TikToks, you know, having a good time. She introduced me to her roommates, whatnot. And like when all of this was happening, she was kind of acting weird. She's like, oh, this was like flooding TikToks. Like I don't really do like, you know, fake relationship kind of thing. I don't want that image on me, you know. Like she like starts like spraying pheromone spray. If you guys know what that is, it kind of like releases hormones in a way. So we spray like she sprays like pheromone spray like all around the room. It's like, oh, this really like smell good. And then she starts like cleaning it up because we had we got another TikToker. They're, I would say, very, very famous right now. Very public relationship.
So those TikTokers are TikTokers by the name of Capri and Piper. Piper as in Piper Raquel, who we've covered twice on this channel, I believe. But to go over the stuff that's been said in that wee clip there, to start with the fake relationship type shit, this is something that comes up as well. It seems as though Ashley Barnes has a raging crush on everyone that she comes across. Well, obviously we're starting with this bloke here, Brad, but like the future stories, everyone who talks about this girl, apparently they're all fucking inundated with lovey-dovey bollocks from Ashley. Like, Ashley just falls in love with anyone she sets her eyes on. So much so to the point where she's spraying pheromone spray all over her room before people arrive. I've seen a lot of commenters talk about how, like, this spraying of pheromone spray is a violation of consent and rights because it'll behoove people into acting in a way in which they usually wouldn't act. It's a bunch of bollocks, right? Pheromone spray is complete, like, it's not real. For those who don't know, pheromone spray is like it's a room spray that is said to increase, it's like an aphrodisiac of sorts, right? It makes the people who smell it, like, horny, for lack of a better word. But it's not there's no evidence to support it. It's complete pseudoscience. Again, that's not necessarily a defense, it's just a fact, because at the end of the day, if the idea is there and the motivation of spraying the pheromone spray is to convince people to do something that you think that they wouldn't ordinarily do, then that is still almost just as bad, in my opinion.
He, like, fact of the story, they're in a public relationship. They come over, and she was like freaking out, trying to clean the room. She's like, oh, I have to do this good. Like, I need to be, like, you know, in with this said person. She keeps telling them to keep doing more and more and more. I'm like, okay, why does she want them to, like, you know, drink and, like, do this stuff? Like, why does she want them to keep doing that? So, like, in the back of my head, I'm like, okay, that's weird. Because in the past, she's pressured me, like, want to, like, do stuff with him. You know, like, that's like the best way to put it, I would say. She, like, tried to pressure me to do like stuff that I clearly did not want to do.
Yeah, okay, so this is, we're painting a very ugly picture here. She's spraying pheromone spray all over the room, trying to behoove people to act in sexual ways, because what's the point of spraying pheromone spray as a 17-year-old kid in a sleep? This is how young these people are, by the way. This is a sleepover, right? It's not even like a get-together, it's not a night out, it's not a motive, it's a sleepover. But then on top of the pheromone spray, she's like trying to convince them to drink. Oh, no, just drink a little bit more. Trying to get them drunk, which is never a good sign. It'd be one thing if it was just that, like maybe they don't like to be sober around people, which potentially might not have the sexual undertones or implications that are going on here, but when you combine that with the pheromone spray, once again, yeah, it does paint a very ugly picture. And also, I want to make it clear that this is all just stories and words being said. There's not much evidence being shown yet. At the end of this whole, like, mini-series, we do get some evidence, so that'll be very important, and we will cover that as well. For the sake of argument here, though, I'm going to take him for what he says, and if the evidence sort of goes against that, then we'll talk about that when we get to it.
And they go, she goes back out, and we're hanging out again. And, she's, like, very, very flirty with this person. And the whole time, like, she's like drunk. I feel like at this point, she was drinking a good amount. And the whole time, this said person was like, oh, I love my significant other. Like, I love my significant other. Like, I'm not gonna, like, kind of, like, give out genders. And then she kind of, like, says, like, oh, like, let's play truth or dare.
This is like, every sentence being uttered here just reminds me of the ages of the people involved in this story. You're spraying pheromone spray, you're trying to get everyone drunk, you're piss drunk yourself, and now you want to play truth or dare. I wonder what the motivations behind this are. Now, look, I'm going to be very careful in this video to not directly insult the people, like, in a way that I usually insult people on this channel, and that is mainly because of the ages of all these people. It just feels strange to insult them when they're that young, because in my mind, they're so young, and they've been given such a huge platform. Like, these kids are so famous. There's no way that they can be healthy ethically minded, if that makes sense. Like, even the victims of this girl, the way that they talk about it and the way they go about everything, as you'll see later, is like just so immature and childish, and as though they're in like a fucking like shitty rom-com. They're not treating the allegations with the seriousness that they are alleging the allegations are, if that makes sense. And that is not discrediting them or saying that the allegations are false. It's just a reminder that these people are children. And by the way, a lot of the influencers who have talked about this, because there have been like tens of people, a lot of them are just people who like met Ashley once. It became a trend after Brad did it and a couple others did it, and it all reached like 10 million views a video for just anybody who's even vaguely interacted with Ashley to make a TikTok video about her. So there's a lot of people just sort of trend hopping, talking about their experiences with Ashley Barnes when they have no experiences with Ashley Barnes, completely commodifying the actual seriousness of the situation.
I'm like, okay, this is getting weird. So she, while we're like playing like truth or dare, we all like kind of like, okay, something's really, really off here. So we all just keep like saying, oh, truth, like, and then she's like, okay, this is getting boring, let's play dare or drink. So then she went to play dare or drink, right? And then she kept wanting people to make out with everyone. I'm like, no. Like, she kept like daring, like, no, like, we're not doing that, like something else.
This is so fucking pathetic, and also weirdly nostalgic in a way, but not in a good way. Like nostalgia in a bad, weird, creepy way. Everyone knew did everyone know someone like this? Is that just me showing my strange group of people I grew up around, maybe? But every friend group I was aware of had one weirdo who was like this. You'd go to a motive, they get some shit out, some cards or something, and you get to a point where you're drinking around a circle or some bollocks, and there's some guy in a relationship who, yeah, you know what, saying this out loud, this is definitely not something that everyone has experienced, but I had a friend who was like really insistent that I like make out with their girlfriend or something along them lines. But it wasn't just me, it was like all of his friends. He just wanted all of his male friends to shag his girl. It was fucking weird. He was an odd fuck. Now I think he plays his acoustic guitar in like Croydon, like pubs in Croydon. And if you're watching this, mate, not gonna say his name obviously, but if you are watching this, then I hope you're different now, because it was really uncomfortable.
Dumb, kind of like to get the game over with. And she just kept daring him like make out with people. She ends up like kind of like forcefully making out with her roommate. Like the said other like person. Like, oh, we dare you guys to like, you know, like make out with like trolling obviously.
So I guess what Brad is saying here is that they were a part of the game insofar as that they were also daring Ashley to make out with people. So it wasn't just Ashley, right? They were doing it as well. So as uncomfortable as they felt, they were also daring Ashley to make out with her roommate. But he says that it's for rage bait purposes, which, I mean, fair enough, maybe, because I'm sure they weren't actually expecting her to non-consensually force herself on her roommate.
And she's like, oh, we have to do it. And then she's like, are you serious, guys? Like, she's like, mad, because we're like rage baiting. And then we didn't think it actually happened. So Ashley like grabs her by the face.
And he tells it with like a smile, and he's fondly remembering how much they made the roommate angry. Like, oh man, we got her good. And then I paused at a bad moment, so she grabs her face and like, so this is, I mean, what's being described here is just straight up sexual harassment. Possibly sexual assault, by the way. I mean, I'm assuming it doesn't work and that they fight back. There are a couple people in this room, I'm sure they're not going to like just stand by and let it happen. But at the very least, it's definitely like an attempt at sexual assault, and the fact that she's drunk does not make it any better. Like, it's not an excuse. Especially when you yourself are the reason why you're so drunk, and the motivation behind getting drunk was this exact, like, situation, if that makes sense.
Like, making out with her, and then, like, she, like, pulls away, and then she, like, grabs her by the throat and pulls her back in, and she's like, what? Like, she's, like, clearly does not want this to happen. Clearly super uncomfortable. And then we obviously felt bad because we didn't think she was going to do that. Like, that was totally out of pocket. And then she was like, see, guys? See, like, we did it as friends. Like, like, she was like, why can't you, talking to the said other, why can't we just, like, make out as friends? Like, it's not cheating because, like, you know, like, it's... like, we're friends, so it's not considered cheating.
Are those the rules? I wasn't aware that was the rules, personally. I always thought if you were friends with the person that you're cheating on your significant other with, that made it significantly worse. Like, I would be a lot more offended if my partner was cheating on me with, like, a close friend of mine as opposed to a total stranger. Like, if it's a total stranger, I've only got my significant other to be angry at. But if it's a friend, then... I mean, he's got to catch these hands. He has to feel the wrath of my devastating roundhouse kick.
At this point, like, we took stuff that we had no clue, like, what it was. Like, we thought it was just normal stuff, and clearly it wasn't. So we kind of have, like, no clue. Like, we are, obviously, like, we know what's going on, but we, like, don't really, like, understand.
So she spiked them with, like, stuff in the drinks? That's mental. From what I remember, there's no evidence of that in the evidence section of any of these videos, by the way. And with how vague the descriptions are of the situation, and the fact that they remember absolutely everything that occurred then, and the fact that she lives with her parents still, I don't know if they actually were spiked or if they were just really, really drunk and maybe misunderstanding some things. Like, it's so important to remember that these are fucking kids. And as we'll see later, these are kids who genuinely believe that pheromone spray is a real thing that actually works in the way that supposedly it was intended to, which is complete bogwash, by the way. So they've not got, what I'm saying is they've not got the firmest grip on the world and how it works and what things are and how they work. And I know that's a dangerous mindset to have, right? Because if a child is telling you about a genuinely, like, horrifying experience that they've gone through, and you're discrediting them purely on the basis they're a child and they don't know or have as much experience of the world as you do, then it's horrible, right? Especially if what they're saying is true. But when you see some of the TikToks that come out, like, later because of this and how they almost milk the situation for views and stuff, it just, I don't know. It's not ridiculous to question some aspects of the story while still believing the basis of it, right? Ashley Barnes is absolutely a girl that shouldn't be on the internet. Like, at the very least, of this whole situation, she should not be on the internet. She clearly just isn't designed for this type of life. She's gonna get herself and a lot of other people into some very dangerous situations if this carries on.
Stop asking people to make out. And she's like, no, I'm drinking. Like, I'd rather drink instead of, like, that happen. So if you know how dare, like, or drink, I guess, works. Never played that game in my life. If you, like, dare someone to do something, they don't do it, then they have to drink. So she's like, oh, I might as well just drink then. Because she had clearly wanted to do that. And this whole time, she's spraying more pheromone spray. She gets this roller out, like, it's like a roller pheromone, and she, like, puts, like, an X thingy, like, on her roommate's chest. And we're like, bro. And, like, at this moment, like, I'm, like, right next to this person. I'm like, bro, like, I think we're gonna get, like, you know, can't, like, say the word on here, but it starts with an R, ends with ED.
See, that's when you fucking leave. Like, that's when you realize, oh, if I feel this way, if I feel as though this is gonna happen, I am not going to stay here. If you don't have a car, Uber. You've got money. Fucking, you need to get out, and you need to bring everyone in the household out with you. That's not victim blaming, by the way. From my knowledge, no one actually gets, you know, treated in such a way. There's only an attempt at sexual assault. I say only. It's still horrible, but it doesn't escalate to that level, if that makes sense. Which, obviously, thank fuck for that, but all that, it doesn't matter, right? If you feel as if you're in a situation where you feel as though that is even a fucking possibility, you fuck off as soon as you possibly can. And you bring every other fucker that's there with you as well.
It's like, oh, like, let me call, like, I'm gonna call it Uber or something like that. And then the other one's like, I can't drive. Like, I cannot drive right now. And the whole time, they're like, I love my significant other. Like, I love them with my whole heart. Like, clearly does not want to do anything with her. No one, like, did. And so, like, while this is that, she comes back out.
This is weird as well. It's like, again, I'm not sure if this is just my age showing or their age showing more specifically, and them not being able to handle themselves in a way that an adult probably would in a situation like this. And what I mean by that is just straight up say, look, can you fucking stop being a weird twat? Like, this is really strange. You're sexually assaulting people. I don't want to fucking make out with you. I'm literally with my girlfriend. Can you stop being a fucking weirdo? Because that is what the average adult would say in this situation, right? Is it different for 17-year-olds? I feel like most 17-year-olds would react that way. Is it different because they're influencers and they have an image to uphold, maybe? In many circumstances, when the man is the perpetrator and there's a woman in the room and the woman doesn't want to, you know, say something like that because they're fearful of what might happen to them, that's totally reasonable, totally fair. But in this situation, there's like 4 people in one room. Ashley is the only one being weird. You've got Brad there, who's a bloke with, I mean, you've seen his fucking six-pack. He's definitely, there's no physical threat to the people in that room from Ashley Barnes. You know, unless she's got like a weapon in the room, which, I don't know, maybe in their head she was that unhinged to where she might have one in the room, which, I don't know, I think that's reaching, to be fair. And again, I'm not disbelieving their story because of this. I genuinely believe that it went down the way that they're describing, but I am, once again, just pointing out how childish and inexperienced their reactions to everything going on here actually is. Like, this could have been prevented if you just communicated with each other properly.
She, like, gets these gummies, and then She's like, oh, like, they're just gummies, they're just gummies. She tries shoving it in her roommate's mouth, like, take it, take it, take it, take it. So she bites off a little bit, just, like, get her to stop. And then she comes up to me with a different one. It was, like, a blue one. She's like, Brad, take this, Brad, take this. I'm not taking whatever that is. I'm not taking, like, clearly you've already done something that you should not have done. Like, you gave me something that you did not, like, it's not what you, like, really said it was, and I had no clue that's really what it was. And she's like, oh, take this gummy, like, shoving it in my face. And I'm, like, sitting back, like, on my phone, like, no, like, I'm good. And then she whispers in my ear, she's like, Brad, like, just act like you take a bite, like, you can just throw it on the floor, like, I just really want this person to take it so I can get with them. And then I'm like, no.
I mean, that is just straight up attempted. It doesn't matter if you're 17 years old, you're fucking old enough to know better. Don't matter if you're drunk, straight up attempted. Obviously, there's no evidence that this happened, but it's pretty difficult to provide evidence that this happened. And to be fair, witness testimony is like is one of the most verifiable source of evidence as well. And as much as there's no hard proof or pictures of this happening necessarily, we have to remember that like so many people who have interacted with Ashley genuinely, who were at this party, did, you know, I guess back this story up and seconded what is being told here. It's one thing if one person tells a story about someone, but when absolutely every single human being in that person's life backs up or defends or like has a story that lines up with what is also being told, it does become like 100% more verifiable. But like shoving something down someone's throat and asking them to take it for the like spoken intent to get with them, especially when they're, it's attempted.
Says, oh my gosh, Brad took it. Now it's your turn. Goes and gives the other half, and like she's looking the other way. I'm like, she tries like forcing herself on this person.
Yeah, once again, it's like there is no reason to sit there and be vague about why they shouldn't take it or be secretive to Ashley, like, oh, I don't want to hurt Ashley's feelings, so I'm not going to be loud and tell them not to take it. I'm just going to like nod behind her back or shake my head behind that. Not nod, definitely don't nod. Like, once again, that's a sort of thing where you go, Ashley just whispered in my ear where she wants to you. I think it's time that we all leave, and Ashley, I think it's time that you get some serious help. Also, I'm telling your fucking parents.
Like, walks over, gets in front of me, gets up, like, this person gets up to get out of the way, and like, kind of like not pushes her, but like, you know, like, stay away, like, kind of like that thing, like, did not push her in any way. I get into the bed, and I, like, trying to go to sleep, and then the whole time, she's like, Brad, like, why don't you like me like you did when I was, like, when you were 13, which was like 4 years ago, like when we first met, or 13, whatever, however old I was, like 3 or 4 years ago. And she's like, am I not skinny enough? Like, I'll lose 10 pounds right now. Like, or like my, like, you know, are they not big enough? I'm like, no, Ashley, like, that's not it. Like, you're like perfect the way you are. Just trying to be like, you know, nice. Like, I'm not gonna like be rude.
It's not rude to say, like, you have attempted to someone tonight. Maybe we shouldn't be friends. I don't give a fuck about your insecurities. I'm not here to coddle you or make you feel better when you've just tried to one of my pals. Or even so, it doesn't matter if they're my pal. Who gives a fuck if they're my pal? You cannot treat people like that. You're treating her as though she's done nothing wrong. Which, honestly, saying it out loud isn't really a slight on Brad's character at all. Because, again, these are children, man. They don't know how to fucking act. They don't know what the right course of action is in situations like these. And to his credit, he does tell Ashley's father about what happened, how it went, which is, in all likelihood, probably the best course of action here. So I'll give them credit where they deserve it. In terms of mishandling the situation or not acting in the perfect way in the actual, like, situation as it was happening, I mean, who does act perfectly in situations like that? It's a high-stress situation. You never expect someone who's supposedly your friend to act in such a way, and you're 17 fucking years old. So I don't necessarily blame them for not acting in the way that I would have acted, for example. And him going on to tell Ashley's dad about the whole thing is the best thing to do here. Unless, you know, her dad is partly the reason why she's like this, which I'm not gonna throw that upon him. It's very unfair. You definitely shouldn't immediately assume that he's this great fucking bloke, sweet dad, though.
Kind of like that. And she was like, Brad, like, please. And then she, like gets, like, into my bed. And I'm just like, bro, I'm, like, trying to, like, act like I'm asleep. And, like, I get away from her. But at this point, like, I, like, completely kind of, like, black out. Like, not, like, black out, but, like, I, like, pass out. Like, I'm so tired. Like, completely, like, done for. When she was, like, trying to, like, make us take stuff, she's like, you're not gonna remember this tomorrow. Like, we might as well just do, like, we might as well just all do stuff you're not gonna remember. She, like, was very emphasizing, like, not remembering stuff. So I'm like, oh, okay. I definitely remember everything.
I think it's also probably important to remember that these aren't people who are used to getting drunk. Like, to them, getting drunk and drinking is like a new experience, you know what I mean? Which, again, isn't an excuse. I've been drunk once in my life before, and when I was, you know, I would so much as graze someone's shoulder and I would apologize so profusely that it made everyone uncomfortable. In fact, it was so unpleasant that since my first time getting drunk, I have never, ever got drunk again. And I was 17, actually, when that happened. I've not drunk since, really. It does make socializing a little tougher up here in Scotland, but, you know, you win some, you lose some. Also, I'll be real, my tender Arab arsehole cannot handle even the single modicum of alcohol, because I'm the biggest lightweight in the fucking universe, man. I don't know if you're aware of this, but Arabic people aren't exactly renowned for their drinking abilities. A lot of us don't do it. Whenever I watch a white person drink, it's like watching a carpenter like work on their craft. It's like watching Picasso paint something, you know what I mean? I feel like I'm watching fucking Jimi Hendrix play the most beautiful solo in the world. It's like these two things are just meant to happen. Like, they were made for this.
Sorry guys, I was just talking to one of my friends on the phone and I completely forgot to say this. Like, at night when she was like asking like, oh, why am I not good enough, like all this stuff, while she was doing this, I was laying in my bed acting like I was asleep, and like she starts touching herself like inappropriately right in front of me.
Fucking hell, you snuck that one in there, didn't you, mate? Like, this just gets worse and worse. Is there any part of this story that isn't completely insane and ridiculous? I can see why I got so many bastard requests for this. This is not like the last video where I was like, why are people asking me to talk about this? I understand this one. Like, this is completely unhinged behavior, even if it is from a 17-year-old. Mate, the fucking, like, having 2.5 million followers really messes with your brain, doesn't it?
We, like, go into this drawer next to, like, the bed, and she has 2 pairs of, like, handcuffs, not like normal ones, like fluffy ones, like, you know, handcuffs like that. She has, like, you know, this kind of like gel, like it's called, it's like kind of like a happy ending gel. It's like when you, like, you know, when you're doing stuff with someone and they, like, you know, kind of finish in a way. It's like gel to help them do that. She has lube. She has, like, a vibrator. She has those gummies to make you, like, you know, want to do stuff. She's boys ones, girls ones, and liquid ones. We watched that all, and on the way, I'm like, okay, I need to call her dad. Like, I don't want to be like that kind of guy, like, telling someone.
Okay, before we get into the calling the dad bit, we'll just do a quick recap of what's going on to, like, line up just how mental this whole thing is. She has invited 3 people over to her gaff for a sleepover. Her roommate, Bradley, and Capri. She has a roommate, so I guess she doesn't live with her parents. That was my bad. I made a mistake there. Just to make that clear, she don't live with her parents. Whatever, right? She's invited these 3 peers to her gaff. She sprayed pheromone spray with the intention of getting people aroused and more in the mood from it. She's trying to get people drunk. She wants to give people gummies with something laced inside of them so that she can have sex with them. And this is all taking place in a room where there is a drawer full of sex toys and vibrators and pheromone spray and lube. And all this is happening while she is literally forcing herself upon her roommate, sexually assaulting them and attempting to rape people, and then trying to play like truth or dare and shit. Also whilst being horrifically drunk herself. This is like nightmare scenario for basically anybody. Seeing your supposed friend, someone who you thought to be your friend, acting in such a manner must have been terrifying. It also must have been so fucking awkward in that room, because it seems as though she was probably the only person having fun or wanting the motive to continue. The other people who were there, I mean, they probably weren't physically threatened by her, but to say they were uncomfortable, I mean, that's a fucking understatement. And also, it's a sort of thing where it's like every aspect individually, there's some plausible deniability there. Like, it's a young girl, she don't live with her folks, she has a bunch of sex toys in her drawer. Yeah, big fucking deal, you know what I mean? But then when you combine it with, you know, pheromone spray, again, individually, if there's pheromone spray in the room, yeah, whatever, man, it's one thing. She's horrifically drunk, yeah, whatever, some young people get drunk too often, and sometimes they go a bit mental with it, not really a big deal. Spiking and attempting to rape people, okay, yeah, individually, that's a big deal. You can't fucking defend that one, like. But the point is, a lot of these behaviors, individually aren't too bad, and they have some semblance of plausible deniability there. But in combination with each other, when you add everything up, it's like the motives here are so clearly insidious.
And I don't like him thinking like, oh, he's such a bad guy, he just used her to get a free kind of trip out of this. Because that's not what I do at all. Like, every time I come like on like a trip, I always do whatever TikTok she wants, we do like all the content she needs, and then the dad kind of like tells me, like, hey, like, you need to call her, she needs to hear what she did for you. And so I call her, and she's like bawling her eyes out, she's like, Bradley, I'm so sorry, like, I've been addicted to Adderall, like, I've been taking like larger doses, like I've been like, on like drugs basically.
Okay, so he's called her dad. Her dad's sympathetic, as it seems, like he's not said anything bad about his reaction. Her dad has told Bradley, okay, you need to call Ashley and tell her from your mouth exactly how she was acting in case she doesn't remember. I'm guessing her dad is aware of the struggles that she has gone through addiction-wise, which I'm sure is difficult for her, right? It's fucking horrible. She's a young girl who was thrusted into a world of fame very quickly and unnaturally. If she struggles with addiction or of any sort of substance, yeah, it's not the most unbelievable thing. Like, I fully can understand that. And addictions are something that should be treated with sympathy. It's not an excuse to act in this manner. No way. And the sympathy does sort of like diminish a little bit when you're affecting other people as negatively, even more negatively than you yourself are affecting yourself. I mean, if you look at Brad's face here, it pretty much sums up the reaction to, oh, I'm sorry, I'm addicted to Adderall, you got to understand, you know? Because when you're hearing that shit, you're thinking like, oh, just fuck, like you've literally tried to rape someone and now you're trying to play victim instead of actually apologizing.
Like illegal substances, she's been like on that, and I'm like, okay, I'm so sorry, like you should like reach out, like something kind of like that. But it almost kind of felt like she was kind of using it as I don't want to say she was using it like to make the situation right, but she kind of was. It didn't seem like she was very genuine about it. She flew back, she went to like rehab for 3 days, flies back out.
3 days of rehab. I don't know anybody who's gone to rehab for 3 days. Like, is that even a thing? Is there any rehabilitation center that will take you in for 3 days and then go, all right, yeah, you're good, fuck off. You're no longer a danger to yourself or anyone else?
Not texting me, nothing. Like, we have not spoken like a week, like from today, basically. And she's just acting like everything's alright. Like, I was not gonna say anything. I was like, okay, it was a mistake. But she acted like everything's A-okay, nothing like that she did was wrong. She didn't text me.
Okay, that's mental. Like, in terms of, because obviously I know there are friend groups, there are people who have wronged each other, who at some point, they move past it and act as though it didn't happen, right? But it's always there lingering, right? You forgive, but you don't forget sort of thing. But this is not one of those situations where a genuine apology has been given and they're moving past it together as a friend group or as people who have relationships with each other, in like colleagues or friends or even, you know, actual girlfriend, boyfriend, a lot of them. I'm sure we've all been in situations where we know someone personally who has wronged you or other people, and they know that you know about it, and they're acting as though it just didn't happen, like it's a completely normal situation, and you're sat there like, are you really just not going to acknowledge what we all know here? You're not going to say sorry at all? It's almost as though you're giving them the opportunity to say sorry unprompted, right? Because you don't want to be, it's a lot less genuine when you go, look mate, we know what you did, and then they apologize. It's so much more just genuine if they apologize to you unprompted, which isn't what's going on here. Like, at all. So what does Bradley do in light of this information? Well, here's what he does.
I'm like, okay, like, I cannot deal with this. So I posted, like, kind of like a TikTok, like, I don't understand how people do the most horrendous things known to man and things and go on with their life.
So instead of directly confronting her or telling people in her life about it or even calling her dad again, he posts a public TikTok to millions of people, subtly hinting towards the story, almost teasing it like a fucking movie trailer. Here's the TikTok for those wondering, by the way. It's just a picture of their face with, I mean, the text that he described, really, and there was like some dramatic music in the original TikTok as well. Now, this is the start of the chronically online bollocks that we get in situations like these. Stuff that makes it so difficult to decide or discern what is real and what is not, because it's very difficult to, I guess, understand how much of it is out of a genuine care for the situation and how much of it is because you're an influencer and you want to make videos and you feel as though you're doing your job in a way by getting views, if that makes sense. I'm not saying that's what's going on here. I do believe Bradley when he says, like, you know, I want to prevent this from happening to other people, and that is, like, it's a good thing the story is being told, because the fact that Ashley is this horrible should be public, in my opinion. People shouldn't be looking up to this girl. People shouldn't be interacting with them or collaborating with them. Like, this should be public knowledge to an extent. But this TikTok here, this is not a good idea. You have to talk to her dad about it. Or if you want to talk about the story, just, you know, talk about the story. You don't need to tease it like this. It's not a movie.
This is not the first time this has happened. She's done this before. So that's, like, it's not my place to say. If they want to make a video about it, they will. But it also turns out this past, like, weekend in LA, she went right back to it. She went back to drinking, getting drunk. Also, guys, and I know so many people here like, oh, he's just doing this for clout, doing this for fame. Like, that is literally the last thing I care about. Like, I'm here, like, kind of look out for other people. And if I really wanted followers, if I wanted the fame, like, I would fake, because I just kind of want to do is like fake a relationship. I don't want to like, I want to fake a relationship. even though she like did like have like feelings for me in a way. So if I really wanted like fame, like if I wanted all that stuff, I would have faked a relationship with her. I would have kept this in. I would not have said a thing.
Yeah, I think to accuse Bradley of doing this solely for views is very unfair. Not only because it's impossible to tell, but also because a lot of people have come out and backed the story up and told similar stories about Ashley. There's definitely truth to this story, and there's definitely a truth that does need to be told. And if Ashley is as dangerous as what is being made out here, it's actually a very good thing that Bradley has come out and spoken about it and encouraged so many other people to talk about the harassment they faced as well. Especially when, you know, stuff like is being attempted. And we all forget here, as childish as it is, like, yeah, they're 17, but it's still fucking horrible. And it's not made any better or more justifiable because it's a 17-year-old doing it to another 17-year-old.
So I'm gonna go ahead and drop the proof, and I'm gonna like put a voiceover on like what each thing kind of is. So right here is me finding like in the drawer the next morning. This is Liquid Love Bites, which is like horny gummies. That's orgasm gel. That's lube. That is more like of those gummies, and then there's more ones right here. Those are like the male ones. She has her shots in there. That's a vibrator, by the way, guys. More of those things, more shots, 2 things of sex, like handcuffs, and then she has pheromone spray. That's what she kept spraying all day. And then like there's like one of those in there that's like a stick that she like rubbed on her roommate.
Is that the Book of Mormon in there as well? I think I swear to God, the Book of Mormon was in that drawer. Is that also a sexually explicit item? By the way, yeah, in ordinary situations, I'd be like, why are you recording a young girl's sex drawer? But considering it was the morning after she just attempted to rape someone, yeah, I understand why it's like completely reasonable to record it, because it does act as evidence for some shady things potentially going down. And I think it'd be crazy to make the assertion that Bradley recorded it with the intention of lying about it and using it as some sort of weird evidence, right? That's not what happened here. He definitely just thought that it was concerning considering what was attempted the night before. Here are some texts of, I guess, him talking to Ashley's dad as well. He says, can you give Ashley a second chance? We all make mistakes when tequila is involved. I mean, yeah, we all make mistakes, but usually when I make a mistake, it's, you know, I get a fact wrong, I say something a little bit offensive, a little bit ignorant. My mistakes usually aren't, oh, shit, I accidentally attempted to one of my friends. I don't know if the dad knows about all that shit. I don't know how much of the story was actually told to him, but if he knows about that and he is saying like, no, keep being friends with her, give her a second chance, then he's definitely not as innocent as a lot of people are making him out to be. Like, that's not responsible parenting.
You guys can pause these as they go, but this is some of the text between me and the dad after what she did. This is him basically like saying that she knows what she did. Like, she has fully admitted that she knows what she did. She's embarrassed and like remorseful. That she knows she was being creepy, by the way. So this is like her admitting to it.
She's deeply embarrassed and remorseful about her drinking and creepy behavior and is 100% committed to sobriety. Thank you for sounding the alarm. Yeah, I'm just not sure if I'm fully convinced by all of this.
And then here is so this is Snapchat text between the roommate, which she did this stuff to as well, and then her other like roommate who was on a date with a friend and was texting her to make sure. So she's like, she kind of said like, oh, what happened? And then the person I was with said, are you staying with him? And then the roommate said, do you want me to get you an Uber? And this is her kind of like responding to what happened. And then this is her saying that's so bad, like what happened. This is her like saying that she tried forcing these like gummies in her mouth. Like she was trying to like basically come like, you know, drug her in a way, which she did to everyone. And then this is her like saying like confirming that she gave her the dare, like stop making people try to do stuff, and she said she would rather drink than do that anyways. And then that's them saying like the person did not want to come, but they decided to anyways, like the influencer.
Statman the boss says, Ashley isn't something you're making public, it's a mistake she made that she's correcting. A true friend would not take advantage of a friend's darkest moment for their benefit. A true friend wouldn't attempt to fucking you. How about that? Bradley's response there is totally reasonable as well, by the way.
Probably have been in our whole lives. And then this is me saying, I'm not using it for my personal use. If I really wanted to like get views or followers, I could easily fake a relationship with her. Like, people would buy it, like I would get followers, like, but this is me saying this is not okay what she is doing. She is taking advantage of people. And then he tries saying we all have dark sides, and he's trying to say I have a dark side. And then he said that, you know, me trying to quote-unquote stop her is not going to make the world a better place.
Is this the fucking dad saying this shit? I'm not sure if I misheard. If this is the dad, then... Right, one sec. Okay, it is the dad. So the dad's a weird fuck. The dad's a weird fuck. No doubt in my fucking mind. You cannot be fucking... But here's the thing. I understand to an extent, like, don't make this public, right? It's your daughter. You want to protect them. But to say things like, oh, you're doing it for your own personal gain, or we all have dark sides, this is just, look, it's not that bad. It happens to everyone, you know, you wake up, you drink a shot of tequila, you try and rape your friend, you spike your pals. It's like, is this what you're telling her? Is when everyone's left and she like the story's been told about her and you think that this has happened or whatever, are you going to her and going like, no, my girl. It's okay. It's not a problem that you attempted to rape your friend. We've all done it at some point in our lives. Please don't kick Ashley while she's down. She needs support. It's not kicking someone when they're down to expose them for being a potential rapist. Like, if you're at a court hearing and the judge sentences someone who's done something that horrible to, I don't know, 20 years in jail, the jury don't go, oh, judge, like, we already know they done it. You don't need to kick them while they're down and give them 20 years. Fuck me. Then he says that she gave him money, so then he shouldn't go public with it because this isn't how you repay someone who's done such a thing. Which makes sense, you know, they spike you, but they also gave you money, so it's okay.
And I'll be completely honest, I did kind of like screw her over in a way. I did not do anything unconsensual by any means, but I was talking to this girl like 3 years ago, probably 3. And we were talking, and then, I'm not gonna lie, I met a girl that I really, really liked while me and her were talking. And I did end things with that girl to get with a new girl, which I dated for a while. Like, I dated her for a good time, and I thought she was the one, to be completely honest with you guys. And they saw like I was starting to get followers, and they're like, okay, let's ruin him. That's what everyone was telling me that they were saying around school.
I mean, that's not comparable at all to what's going on here, especially because it was 2 years ago and you're 17 now. So that's fucking 15-year-olds dating and flirting with each other. To be honest with you, I don't give a fuck about any of that. It's like, that's little kid shit.
So they go on saying a bunch of rumors about me, like all this stuff. And one of them goes far enough to say he did stuff unconsensually with someone. And so I text that person that I quote unquote did that stuff with, and text him like, hey, have I ever done anything unconsensual? Along with a bunch of other people, I said, hey, have I ever been unconsensual or done anything with you in a weird way in my life? And all of them have the same answer. No, you would never do that. No, you would never do that. And then like other girls I talked to, no, we talked for 6 months, we talked for 8 months, and we didn't even, the most we did was hug. Like, and then he is like saying stuff. So then I have to prove a person, no, that never happened. I don't know why they're saying that. And I'm like, I confront the person that sent that message, and I was like, this is me saying the rumors which are not true, that never happened. I screenshot proof of them. And I said, you should not be trying to normalize this, because that's what's happening. He is trying to normalize his daughter sexually assaulting and trying to drug her friends. And then this is him saying like, oh, are you just gonna like badmouth, or like, what are you gonna do? How's that gonna help? And I'm like, it's to help people who she is affected negatively. People like are not going to speak out for themselves, and it's prevented to happen in the future. And then he said, who put you in charge? She's in charge of fixing herself. You take care of yourself.
Yeah, this guilt tripping from the dad is like really fucking creepy and unnerving, to be honest. Like, Ashley's a good... Friends don't do that. Well, we're not fucking friends anymore. The friend status sort of dissipates when you drug me and attempt to my pal. What you should be doing here is immediately taking her off the internet, right? You need to talk to her and be like, look, you don't need this job. You should not have this fucking job. You move in back with us, we're taking you to rehab, and we're gonna give you the best fucking support we can, right? We're not gonna fucking guilt trip your pals who you've just assaulted. It's just mental behavior. Like, this is, you're the one who is most responsible, other than Ashley herself, for trying to help her and prevent this from ever happening again. And the way that you're coddling her here and trying to protect her, I mean, it sort of explains a little bit to how she got to this point where she thinks she can get away with this kind of behavior. Bradley coming out with stories like this and everyone else coming out with corroborating stories is actually a good thing in contrast to what you're saying here, because it has the highest likelihood of anything else to drive her away from the internet, which is great. You know, she's a young girl. She shouldn't even be that fucking famous to begin with, but especially when it's so clear she can't handle that amount of responsibility. Her being driven away is the best possible thing.
Like, he's telling me, like, keep it in, like, do not expose her, and that's just not before. So that's, like, the proof that I have. And I'm sure, like, somehow I'll get in trouble for sharing that, but, that is what happened in screenshot proof. She claims that she doesn't remember it, but because of her misuse of Adderall, but then she goes on and says that she's remorseful for what she did. So, do you remember me not?
Well, you can still be remorseful of shit without remembering it, to be fair, Bradley. Like, if you... Because Adderall... I've been on Adderall before, because of its ADHD medication, but I've never, you know, abused it. But it does affect memory negatively, especially if you do overdose on it. Like, I'm aware of that. And it is very possible for, you know, if you get drunk or any sort of drug that negatively affects memory, to act in a way that is bad, be told about it later, not explicitly remember it, and still be remorseful of it. You can be remorseful of something you don't remember. Like, you definitely can. Oh, mate, one of the things that put me off alcohol the most is I heard a story from a guy who went to prison, like a friend of mine who went to prison. He come out of prison, told me about this bloke who was in there, who got like 30 years for killing their little sister in their truck, like running them over. And because they were drunk, like so drunk, they didn't remember any of it. So they killed their sister without any recollection of it. And for me, it was like, it's just so fucking terrifying that I haven't drunk that's partly why I don't drink. Anyway, here's where we get to the aftermath of Bradley telling all these stories, and I mean, just have a look. this is what I mean. It's like, it's one thing to say you're not doing any of this for views or attention, and it's another thing to put out a 10-part miniseries, each video being 3 minutes long, getting like millions of views per video, realizing just how popular this is, and then putting a short thing like this out with some fucking pop music over it. In a case of attempted where you like mog to the camera and do a fucking, like, it's just, it's childish. It's very childish. See, this is not how I would act if a friend of mine attempted to rape another friend of mine and drugged me and did all this horrible shit. I would not sit there on a TikTok with Radiohead music in the background and do a fucking, oh. Do you see what I mean when I say, like, this fucking chronically online behavior is very damaging and very harmful, and it makes talking about situations like these that much harder, which obviously isn't aided by how young these fucking people are, man. I know a lot of people just sort of look past this, but I'm really not, like, I'm not a fan of how situations like this are treated on TikTok, how videos like that are just normal now, things that people just brush over. It's fucking weird. Like, it is weird. And then here's Capri, the bloke that we've been talking about this whole time, Piper Raquel's boyfriend, who made a video of a similar irk. They even use the same song. So are they like chatting to each other on what Radiohead song to use? And then obviously Piper Raquel comes in and swoops in with a video as well of another similar irk. Like, once again, I have to make it clear to you all that when you watch videos like these, you got to imagine the actual influencers sitting there. They set their little phone up. This is a case about attempted by the way, and drugging people and a sexual assault that took place. And these influencers have sat there, they've set up their little phone, they propped it up on a wall or something, they've walked back, pulled a sad face or some shit, taken their phone back, scrolled through a list of sad songs and meticulously picked one out, and then posted it on their TikTok for millions of people to see. I am not saying that this makes the story any less believable. I'm not saying it discredits any of the shit that's being said. I'm not saying it makes any of the behavior that's being displayed here any worse or better, right? The stories are the stories and that's that. But I am saying that this is very fucking chronically online strange behavior and it's very childish. And that I'm not a fan of it. I don't like it. If these were adults, you think I'm critical now, Matt. If these were adults, I would be like a billion times more critical. I am cutting them a lot of slack for their age. Now, Capri also came out with like a 10-part miniseries similar to how Brad did with a whole story about it as well. A lot of the information that he tells is just a retelling of Brad's point of view, but from his point of view. So we're not going to watch the whole thing, but there was some some moments that differentiated or some unique moments that we haven't heard yet, so we'll give those a watch.
So I get there, we walk upstairs, and there's just Brad, her roommate, and then this other girl and her. So it's 3 girls and 2 boys. There's drinks there and stuff. She offers me a drink. I'm like, nah, I'm good. You know, I'm driving and stuff. So, no other drinks, I'm good. And then she's like, throughout the night, she's like pressuring me to drink because, oh, I haven't seen you in so long. Oh, let's hang out. And like, she's one of the people that she needs to drink to have fun. And everybody else was drinking. Let's just call it Kool-Aid. So Brad didn't drink, but he took something else and he was so obviously faded. But later I learned that he didn't even know what that was. He thought it was just a regular gummy because Ashley told him it was. And me, I never want to be the person who like is the odd one out and never wants to be the person who like people think is better than people. So I'm not gonna lie, I got peer pressured, okay? I got peer pressured and I did, you know, take some Kool-Aid.
I'm not gonna you can't criticize someone for that, by the way, especially when, you know, they're that young and they are being peer pressured. It's totally reasonable. A lot of people do that sort of thing. It's not the right thing to do, obviously, but it's a very normal thing for people of this age to go through, right? Being peer pressured into drinking. It's like the most normal thing in the world.
So while she was spraying it, I go over to Brad and I'm like, what's she spraying? And he's like, it's pheromone spray. I'm like, what? For those of you guys that don't know what pheromone spray is, it's basically a spray that makes you, let's say, down for whatever.
So I just wanted to show that clip to prove to you that yes, these people do genuinely believe that spraying a fucking spray that you get from the shops for like 10 quid will genuinely convince people or make them down for whatever you want them to be down with. Which, I want to say it again, is complete pseudoscientific bullshit. If that's actually what the fucking spray did, it would not be legal. Shit like that is not legal.
I think Ashley had somebody take away my account, but I do have a lot of representatives, so I will try to get it back. Honestly, I probably will get it back by tomorrow. We'll see. Hopefully I get it back by today so I can tell the rest of my story.
Yeah, that was a little video there because Capri's video, his TikTok page got taken down after he told his story, and there are conspiracies that Ashley is the reason why the TikTok got taken down, that she had something to do with it. I'm not sure how true that is. There isn't really any evidence at all. Maybe it's because he was talking about some horrific shit and TikTok thought, not a fan of this, or all took it down. Who really knows? Brad stayed up, which is weird. I'm confused at why Capri's was the only one that got taken down. But either which way, he got it back. Everything's fine now relatively, so we'll move on. So next is Melina's story about the whole thing. This one got even more popular than Bradley's, a lot of these videos, so we'll give this a watch. There's two of these lassies. They weren't there on the day, but they do know Ashley personally, so we'll give some of this a watch, not as much as Bradley's, obviously, because, I mean, these two, they go on for a long time, and the majority of it is just petty teenage drama, like schoolboy, schoolyard, fucking kids on the playground gossiping, relationship drama that isn't serious at all whatsoever. And this video is not about that. This video is about the serious shit that needs to be talked about, not about who flirted with who and who fucking is in a relationship with whatever, right? I don't really give a fuck about that.
Savannah and I have been friends since we were younger, in 2nd grade, and Ashley and I met in 8th grade, and she tried to take it away. She would tell me lies about Savannah, telling me, you really want to be friends with someone who did this to me? You really want to do that? And she was like, she would just like guilt trip me the whole time.
So I've left that in just as a wee example of the type of thing that this video is not here, it's not designed to talk about. Like, shit like that is just, it's high school drama, and that's not what I'm about. I'm not gonna sit here as a fucking 21-year-old and try to analyze deeply the ins and outs of playground drama. Oh, I had a friend, and then my other friend was lying about my friend, saying that they did bad things, and oh, that's horrible, and they guilt trip me. Yeah, that's bad. Sure, it's bad. I feel sorry for them if that's true, I guess, but like, it does not hold a fucking candle to any of the other horrific stories that are being told here, and if that's all this video was about, I wouldn't be making this video.
While Ashley was with Savannah, this whole time she has been in love with me, and she has told me she is in love with me. I was sitting there and Savannah said something, I don't recall what it was, but I was like, stop before I kiss you, and we just giggled. Ashley turned and said, do it.
We kind of looked at each other like weird and confused. We're like, no, like, haha, that's like, we don't do that.
Yeah, like, it's a joke, I have a girlfriend. Ashley then proceeds to
continue the joke
and beg us. I made a joke and I said, $250, give me $250. And she said, okay.
Not thinking she would actually give Melina the $250.
So when we were sitting there, she wanted us to just peck. We kept saying no. It took us 10 minutes to finally do it because we just wanted her to shut the fuck up. After that, it doesn't end there. She then goes and says, do it again. I want to go in the back seat and I want to be in the middle. Pretend
there's a middle seat.
She sat there,
right there.
I sat here,
and
she sat there. Again, probably took us another 10 minutes. Because we did not want to do this. We did not want to do this, but we had no other choice. She was literally getting upset.
So this here is deranged, right? And it does display a pattern of behavior from Ashley of just being a weird fuck, right? Like, the type of person to do that sort of thing, it does line up with the type of person to, it's not unbelievable for someone to have done the things that Bradley has claimed to do something like this as well. Definitely does not look good or add to her case, like, in terms of defense at all. I do want to comment on something that I feel as though is very important, not just for the people involved in this situation, but for the people watching as well. And that's what this lassie here, Melina, says about not having a choice. Like, she is sat there going, we had to kiss her because we had no choice. She was getting upset. Let's be fucking clear here. You did have a choice. She's making it difficult for you to say no. But you should have said no. You were not being forced to sit in the back seat and both kiss her at the same time. Like, you did not have to do that. Just because she's paying you like $1,000 to do so, again, it's not forcing you to do anything. You have to understand that in situations like that, you have the power, you have the ability, and you also should, if you're uncomfortable especially, to say to them, like, mate, can you fucking stop? And if you keep going on like this, then we're leaving, or we're gonna make you leave. Like, get out my bastard car. Also, probably never talk to me again. Like, this is really creepy, dude. Just because she's getting upset doesn't mean you're forced to do anything that you're uncomfortable with, like.
She came home with a black scent because she told me that she was around guys, and that's how she talks when she's around guys. And since Capri is dark toned, that's what happened. She said she was with them for like 3 hours. That doesn't happen. We were like, what are you talking about? Like, why are you talking like this? And she was like, like, you know how it be, like.
I left this bit in just because of how fucking weird it was. This whole series here is like a 40-minute thing that these people have spoken about. I've only left in like 2.5 minutes because a lot of it is just a little petty. But then this here I left in because I was like, this is like the ultimate petty sort of thing, especially in comparison to everything else. But it's just it's just such a weird detail that they can't be lying about it, and I just find it quite amusing.
Like, that's not how she talks. Like, why are you doing that? About to give y'all what you guys have been asking for. Boom. $950 right there. March 31st. Just give me $950. What?
So that's the proof that they were in fact paid $1,000 to give him a wee peck on the cheek, which does display like the sort of character, like someone who thinks that they can just get away with whatever because they're famous and they have a lot of money, and they also have a dad who defended them no matter what they did. So she sort of she's lived the majority of her life thinking she can get away with fucking anything, which makes sense when you look at the way that she behaves. Okay, so here's a video directly from Ashley herself, which a lot of people have linked to this situation. In fact, I think this video was put out after the stories were being told, and it's like a direct response to a lot of the allegations, so we'll give it a watch. It was deleted, obviously, but we'll still give it a watch.
Ashley Barnes here. Public service announcement for you guys because there's more one-on-one over here since I did one on my main and y'all seem to like it. I just wanted to say, please be careful when you are getting put on any like medications, especially like mental ones, because I went to psychiatrist, I got misdiagnosed, which is like to nobody's fault, but it's just a sucky situation. I was put on medication for something and it was the wrong medication. Unfortunately, I lost like 3 months of my life being on this like medication where I don't remember much of any of it, and I mean, I just became like a person that I'm not, and now being on this side of the equation and being off it and just being like walking around like, oh my gosh, like it got really, really bad. And it is so great to finally feel like alive again, and like I've been given a second chance at like life, and I just want to let you guys know, like, I wish that I can't believe it went on for 3 months. Like, I wish I noticed it sooner. So please, like, keep in mind, like, check in, have people like there to like notice if you shift who you are.
I mean, that is just fucking horrible. Like, as much as we're criticizing her, as much as she did some horrible shit, that is also a very bad experience to go through. And I also do believe her, at least a little bit, right? It's not as though I completely disbelieve her. That's probably a better way of putting it. You know, the actions, the lack of memory, sure, a convenient excuse maybe, but also a legitimate side effect of being on too much Adderall. You know, you're a young girl, maybe you're struggling a little bit, you're that famous. It's like, it's not unbelievable necessarily. It's not an excuse for the behavior that's being displayed here. At the end of the day, it just sort of seems like, once again, a young girl who's been thrust into fame way too early. I don't think anybody should be that famous, but it's just the world we live in, I guess. She's got a dad who enables her more than he should. She's got friends who are also in that space of extreme fame, extreme wealth, so this isn't exactly, they don't live in the real world, right? And some things have gone horribly wrong, and a lot of people have been seriously hurt. That's probably the best way that I can describe the situation in like a couple sentences, right, if that makes sense. I mean, the only thing we can really do here is hope and wish for the best for all parties involved, right? I hope the dad fucking learns that the way he's acting is unacceptable, and he probably shouldn't be talking to these children much at all, unless he's saying something along the lines of, I will talk to her and try to make her understand and try to improve the lives of everybody here. Maybe not those exact words, but you get what I'm trying to say. I wish the best for Ashley. I hope she overcomes her addiction and stays sober and doesn't do anything this fucking horrible for anybody else. And then, of course, I wish the best for all the victims and people who have interacted with Ashley and had horrible experiences with her, because undeniably a lot of them have gone through some pretty horrible shit.
And I'm like so grateful to be able to think again and being myself and go back to doing what I want to do, which is writing and pushing positive messages. But I love you so much, guys. But that was my little PSA. Please be careful. I wish that I had known, like, because I didn't even notice it because it did it to myself.
There's also this video that went crazy viral, which is just, I mean, whatever. I'll show you guys. There you go. It's tiny, but that's it. Ashley Barnes caught underage drink. I mean, that is not the issue here, like, even slightly. Underage drinking is one of the most normal crimes, if you want. I guess technically it's a crime, but it's like the most normal, accepted crime ever. It's like in England, I think in England it's illegal to like bring a fish or an aquatic animal to the outside of the Houses of Parliament or some dumb law like that. There are just some laws that no one really gives a fuck about. And a 19-year-old or a 20-year-old drinking in America, even a 17-year-old, like... No one gives a fuck, man. If you're in London, you could probably walk over to Hyde Park right now and see a bunch of 13-year-olds doing shots, and the police are like right next to them, not giving a fuck because they have bigger issues at hand, man. I don't think it should be encouraged, but like, it's just not the thing that should be pointed out here. Like, I'm gonna mute these videos there and just have a scroll through to show you guys just how many fucking people have come out about this situation and why it's so difficult to talk about and why we couldn't go through everything in this video. Pay attention to the length of the videos here as well, yeah? Look, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Some of these are like 2 people as well, so I guess that adds shit as well. One of them is like her adopted sister, allegedly, which is, I mean, when you got family like that talking about you, and saying like, oh, I'm not involved or whatever, don't talk about it. Like, it's still going, by the way. Who the fuck is this?
You guys do not know me, I don't know you. I want to come here on this platform to tell you guys about my interaction with Ashley Barnes, aka the girl that's getting, you know, she's all over TikTok, like, right now, about, you know, allegations and stuff about her. Basically, I don't want to make this story long, but I got to basically. We were in this carnival, where it's like a carnival.
Okay, look, this is what I've not heard the whole story, but this is what I fucking mean. Like, this is so odd and obviously bollocks and obviously just a capitalization of the incredibly viral story. Like, what the fuck is actually going on here?
Guys, bro, it's been happening. I've been getting so many like bad people. Like, I'm so sad, bro.
He's just trolling. This guy's just fucking trolling, I think. Why is he on this fucking archive of videos of like Ashley Barnes exposés? Anyway, let's just continue. There's more. Who's this? My Ashley Barnes story. 3 minutes 20.
So I met her for the first time at Poultry's party last week and also the Grove.
But the TikTok is right there if you want to watch it. Again, we can't go, this video is long enough as is. We're not going to go through every single one of these stories. It would just take way too long. But there's a lot of people talking about it, man. And that's pretty much the brunt of it. It's like, it's very obvious that this is a person who should not be on the internet and does not know how to treat people normally. When you have that many people fucking talk about you, it's not a coincidence at all. Especially when they've had real life experiences with you. They're not all just people who want to, they're not all people who want to capitalize off a situation like this. I think I've said my piece on this whole thing, by the way. This is without doubt the most requests that I've ever got for a video ever, so hopefully you're happy with my coverage of it. Sorry if we couldn't go absolutely, like, balls deep into everything about this situation, but it's just not really what this channel's about. Now, to end this video, and also to commemorate the intro where I bring up the 3 incredible Weezer albums in the background, I thought instead of going over a comment, I'd go over a guy who keeps DMing me some very interesting... I'll just show you guys, because it's very hilarious and also disturbing to me. So there is one person on Instagram who, we're not mutuals, they're in my requests, but since the 16th of April of this year, every time they come across a reel that involves the band, the incredible band of Weezer, they fucking send me. So if I scroll through this chat, it's just all Weezer shit that they've sent me, which is incredible. Thank you so much. I really am. I'll never respond, but I know you're watching this, and keep doing it, because I watch all of these and they brighten my day, warm my heart even. Go Franklin, one from Rivers themselves. Oh, it's probably a fan account actually. Weezer people. Mate, this fucking goes on and on. Oh my goodness, look at this Weezer ice cream. Now that is incredible. I love America. And then the last thing they sent me on Thursday, playing the best guitar solo of all time on my synth set. I think I can guess pretty accurately what guitar solo it is. So much so that I'm not even going to play that video. Rather, I think I'll just end this one. So hopefully, as always, you all enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and I will catch you all in the next one. Bye.